guys, welcome back to Cedar Grove Virtual Yoga, Global Freakin' Pandemic Yoga, brought to you courtesy of the Cedar Grove Public Library. It's kind of gray and kind of cold. I'm wearing long sleeves. It's probably not cold for most people, but I feel like I get cold super easy the last couple of years. I don't know why. I think it's because Cam has sucked the lifeblood out of me. No, I'm serious. Homeschooling is going to be the death of me. The death of me. Today he had music. It was over at 2:10 or 2 o'clock. I don't even know. He packed up all of his stuff because his teacher said, that's it for the day. See you next week. His music teacher. Packed up all of his stuff, came in my room, laid on the bed, and asked if he could play with his phone. And I was organizing my dresser, my drawers and stuff, and I wasn't really thinking about it. And I was like, I don't know, I guess so, for a few minutes. And then I looked at the clock and realized it was literally 2:10. And so we had to scramble and quickly unpack everything and get him back online and get him into his math class. So that's the kind of nonsense that's been going on here all week. All week. But elementary schools can go back the 29th. And I was really thinking we weren't going to send him back. We'd wait a while and see how it went. But I just don't think he can pay enough attention at home. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next week or so. But it's looking like Cam is going to need to go back. So sad. All right. So today you're going to need your strap. You're going to need your mat. As promised, we're going to do the strappy hip opener because that's what, when I see you guys out in public, that's the one thing that you seem to want to do the most, that you request the most. But this time, I was told the other day that when I teach that on video and I do it with you, it doesn't help. You'd rather me explain it to you very clearly than try to do it and use myself as a visual. So I think that was their polite way of saying, don't do it, just talk, which most people don't say. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to talk you through it. I hope that that makes it a little clearer if it hasn't been in the past for some of you. And it's going to be a pretty short and simple class. I kind of feel like that's what we're doing lately. One class is longer. Every week one class is more like an hour. And then one class is a little bit shorter and just focuses on something a little more intensely. And that's what today will be. So we worked on hips on Wednesday. And we did a variety of poses. And today we're just going to focus on one big pose and really give that our full attention and walk away with new hips and feel really, really good after. So lay on your back, arms at your sides, palms up, grab your strap, have it nearby. If you don't have a strap, a long scarf, a men's tie, a long length of thick ribbon, anything like that will work. You just want it to be about 8 feet. That seems to be what works best. So get comfy. I say this all the time, but if you are interested in ordering a strap on Amazon, I believe you can get a 2-pack. The last time I looked, I believe that you can still get a 2-pack on Amazon for a pretty reasonable price. You just want to make sure if you're buying your own that it has the double metal rings. This is the brand I like, Hugger Mugger. They've been around a while and I've had these forever. They're just really good quality. So Hugger Mugger, 8 foot is what I would recommend. But you know, they're probably very all similar. So anyway, lay on your back, arms at your side, palms up. Strap is nearby so you can grab it when you need to. We did this last night in our outdoor Wednesday night class. It was our first class last night. We had such a good turnout. I think there are almost 30 people signed up for the class, which Wednesday night traditionally is a really big class here in town. But you know, things have changed in the last 6 months, so I was really happy to have about 25 people, I think, last night outside on the Panther Park softball field. The sun was setting just as we got there, and it was a little bit cool, but it wasn't bad, and it was really nice just to be with everybody and be outside. So if you're interested in doing a live class, you're still welcome to join and sign up for that. It's registration online only through the Cedar Grove Parks and Rec Department. I believe it's a 10-week session, and we did the first class last night, so there's 9 classes left. I think it's $50 for the whole session, so even if you have to miss a couple, it's still a really good price. And what we're going to do through this session is break down the sun salutation pose by pose, really get into each pose, and then kind of visit that group of poses that night. So like when we're working on Cobra, we're going to do a couple back bends that night. We're not just going to focus on Cobra, but we're going to integrate the whole group and then bring everything together so that in 8 or 9 weeks you have this really beautiful flowy sun salutation that you're very comfortable with. And we did that last fall, I believe, outside near the community center a couple nights, and people just seemed to respond well to that group of classes. So I thought, back to school, fresh beginning, sort of back to school, but we would revisit it and do it again. And like I told the group last night, even if you have done that series with me before, I think with yoga you can always go back and learn new stuff and figure out how to do something a little different or a little bit better for you, so that it just feels better and you get more out of it. That's kind of what it's always about. So that's what we'll be doing. Originally there was a Friday morning class scheduled as well, 9 to 10 at the community center, but that didn't really have a great sign up. So Parks and Rec has canceled that class for this session and is only offering the Wednesday night class, 6:30 to 7:30, Panther Park softball field. Tons of space. Come sign up. Come sign up and be with us. Close your eyes and find your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Drawing the breath all the way down into your low belly, holding it there for a comfortable couple of seconds, and then slowly exhaling. Let your mind wander. Try to relax. Try to be really heavy on your mat, almost like you're trying to melt down into the mat. That's what you're going for here, that melting sensation. Couldn't sleep well early this morning. I feel like I woke up around 4:30 and I just couldn't go back to sleep. So at like 5:30 I got out of bed and brushed my teeth, washed my face, slipped on my workout clothes, and I was outside walking by I think 6, and it was still kind of dark out, but I was outside. I had just gone down the front steps. I was outside playing with my phone and my earbuds, and 5 or 6 of my Wednesday night yogis walked by with their dogs and each other, and I think they were finishing up because they kind of parted ways, and a couple of them went up one street and some went up another street. But it's the nicest time of day. I guess I never thought I was an early bird, but I guess I'm not an early bird, because I really like getting working out over with, and I really like the quiet that you find that early in the morning when you come over. I can never remember if it's Lakewood or Lakeview, from Bowden up over to Ridge near the church. The sun rising over that reservoir is the most beautiful thing. It's such a pretty reward after trudging up that hill like a Sherpa. It's such a nice thing to see every day. But I'm also really tired at like 8 o'clock at night, because I feel like I've been up for 1,000 hours. So that was the start of my day today. All right, pull your knees into your chest using only your core muscles. Arms are out, palms are up. Drop your legs over to your right. Let them settle down onto the ground, and then extend the left arm out, palm up. I might have said all this on the last class that we did, because that was a hip class as well. But because I taught hips in my real class, my live class last night, I didn't mean real class, my live class, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things again. Hips are tricky. Most people have one that's definitely a lot tighter than the other, and you can usually tell which one it is. Very simply, well, you guys can't see me right now, so I'll show you this later. But if you sit cross-legged, if you sit in a traditional Indian style, there's always going to be one knee that sits a lot higher than the other one. And usually, deep in that hip socket, you can feel that that one's a lot less comfortable in that position and a lot tighter, and that's your tighter hip. And for me, it's my right side, and I kind of feel like it started after I had Alex, and I don't know, maybe I physically did something when I was giving birth, or Maybe it was just the way I carried myself while I was pregnant, but it's been tight ever since. And now he's 14, which is crazy, 14. But as often as I try to do hip openers and go deep into that hip, it's always still tight. It'll feel better, but then it tightens up again. So I think hip openers for me are one of the only groups of poses that you really need to do consistently every single day, every minute, all the time. Anything that you can figure out to do in your daily life, how you can incorporate a hip opener into your daily life all the time, I think is beneficial. And so that's why it may seem like I teach hip openers a lot, but I teach them a lot because I think they're really necessary and very needed. And I know women tend to carry their tension, their anxiety in that area, in the pelvic area, in the low belly area. I know I do for sure. And for the last 6 months, everybody's had some tension and anxiety. If you haven't, then God bless you, but I don't know anyone who hasn't. So I know I teach hip openers a lot, but there is a reasoning behind it, at least to me. And I hope you need them so that the classes are beneficial to you. But, you never know. All right, bring your knees up to center. Roll them down to the left. Extend the right arm out to your side, palm up. And find your breath. Good old twisting is always nice, right? Always nice for the spine. Always nice for the side body. Always nice for the front of the shoulders. I always appreciate the front of the shoulder opening I get. Breathe into this. This is an easy pose to pull out of if it feels uncomfortable, but you want to do your best to breathe and soften. That's what your exhales are for in yoga. When you breathe and you inhale, that's when you're finding the pose. When you breathe and you exhale, that's when you're allowing your body to soften and melt and relax into the pose. And that's always going to be what you're looking for in these kind of poses. Some poses are crazy, energetic, muscular, warriors and things of that nature. Other poses like this, you want to soften to get the benefit of the pose. If you were to, you can settle in a warrior, but you don't really soften. It's two different things. So in a pose like this, you want to soften. You're not really muscularly doing anything, but exhaling and letting go. And then bring your knees up to center and come on into your happy baby with either one hand on each kneecap, pulling the knees wide and finding some movement left to right or front to back, or holding the outside edges of your feet or your big toes, pulling everything wide, getting the bottoms of your feet to face up against the ceiling, and then finding your movement that way. All right, feet on the floor, knees bent, but the soles of the feet come together and the knees go out to the side, coming into Baddha Konasana, or butterfly, which is another therapeutic hip opener. This is one where you should feel which one is your tighter hip. Let the knees drop, and one of them is going to resist. One of them is not going to feel as comfortable dropping, and you're going to definitely feel you're definitely going to feel a resistance in the hip socket in one side more than the other. And that's how you know it's your tighter hip. And if you just roll up a little and take a look, the knee that's sitting higher off the ground, that's always an indicator that that's your tighter hip. And all that means is that hip openers are going to feel more uncomfortable on that side, but that's all the more reason why you need to aggressively do them. Like I said, in every part of your daily life, figure out how you can incorporate yoga. You know, I find myself doing tree a lot when I'm, excuse me, when it's that early morning walk, when I'm standing around in line at a store, when I'm, you know, watching the dog at the dog park, when I'm, you know, outside with Cam and he's riding his bike, I find myself doing tree a lot and playing with my balance poses. But there's usually always some way during your day that you can incorporate a little bit of yoga, so that if you don't have time to really do a home practice, you can do something. All right, roll over to your right hand side, come on up to a comfortable seated position, grab your strap. Okay, so scoot yourself down so that you're in the middle of your mat, and then lay down, hold your strap, bring your knees into your chest, put your strap around the ball of your feet, which is the big bump underneath your big toe on each side, and bring your legs straight up in the air, holding one strap in each hand. And adjust a little. Take a look at your feet. They're straight up above you. You want a little space between each foot. You want not necessarily 2 fists, not necessarily 6 or 7 inches, but a little space. You don't want them right up against each other. Figure out where to hold the strap. This is why I recommend the 8-foot strap, because I like to divide it so it's kind of half and half, you know, evenly on each side hanging down. And then once I pull down on my feet, I like to wrap it around my hands and pull down. That just feels more secure and more comfortable to me, because I know that this isn't always a comfortable pose. But I was saying last night, I love this part of this pose because you can really feel your upper arms flex. And I do push-ups pretty faithfully. My aunt came up to me the other day. She's a personal trainer. She started punching me in the arm, and she said, they look firm, they look good. And they don't feel firm to me. But I asked her why she was punching me, because it really hurt. But I don't often do things naturally that flex my upper arms, but when I do this pose and I'm pulling on the rope, on the strap, I can see the definition, and I like that. It makes me feel pretty good. So pull down, lift the heels high. You're pulling the strap down on the ball of the foot so that the toes come back at you, heels press out towards the ceiling, and then at the same time, press the back of your knees towards the wall in front of you. So your legs are fully engaged right now. This is a big pose. It's a big pose, but it's a pose that you're doing lying on your back, so it's deceptive. People think it's a therapeutic pose or a relaxing pose. It is kind of therapeutic. It's not very relaxing at all, though. But the payout on this one, I think, is really good. Really good. All right. So now, from here, you are going to take your left leg out, bring it all the way to the ground in front of you, and continue to flex that left foot. Both straps are going to come into your right hand. Left arm is going to go out to your side with the palm up. Now for this part, I like to move my hand higher up on the strap and hold it closer to my foot. You don't have to do that, but that just makes it feel more secure. My leg feels more secure to me when I do that. And you're going to start to lower your leg out to your right side, but you want the back of the left hip to stay anchored and down on the ground. So if that leg gets too low and you start to roll up, lift the leg. You don't want the leg to touch the ground at all. You don't want it to rest on the ground. You want it to be at least maybe, I don't know, a foot off the ground, but you want the back of the left hip to stay anchored. That's really important in this pose. I was saying last night, when you do this pose, you're taking up a lot of space. You've got an arm out, you've got a leg out, you kind of look like a starfish. Your other arm is holding the strap with the leg. You're taking up a lot of space, and it's a big pose, and you want to anchor yourself. You don't want to roll. You want your back body to be really solidly anchored down on your mat. So again, press out through the back of both knees on both legs. Press out through the big toe mound on both feet. Press out through the heel on both feet. Your legs are fully engaged and muscular. And what you're doing here is allowing the big thigh bone, the femur, to pull, excuse me, there's the sneeze. Oh my gosh. There's usually two. Let's see. Maybe just when my allergies are starting already for this year, my fall allergies. I started to get that tickly feeling in my nose last week, and I knew right away that's what it was. But you know, I think everyone's a little paranoid now when you sneeze or cough. So right away you think, oh my gosh, did I get it? No, it's allergies. All right, just another couple breaths with that leg out there. I know this is arduous. I know, and I know it's a lot on your arm, but it's going to feel so good when you're done. All right, swing that right leg up to center. Take one strap in each hand, pull down. Remember to flex both your feet and press out through the backs of both knees. Really important that you do that. Now you're going to switch arms. So instead of the left arm staying on the ground, you're going to take both straps in the left hand and you're going to bring the right arm out to your side with the palm up. And this time, rather than focus on the back of the hip staying anchored, you're going to focus on the back of the right shoulder staying anchored. And you're going to roll over onto the outside of your left hip. Let the right leg go with you, but don't let it hit the ground. Have it stop right about hip height. And make sure that the back of the right arm and the back of the right shoulder are down on the ground. So again, you're spreading out. You're taking up lots of space. You're being very uninhibited and organic with this pose, very fluid. And you're pressing out through the big toe mound on both feet and the heel on both feet, as well as pressing out through the back of your knees. Once again, it's nice and quiet because Cam's at swim. Mike took him, and I'm going to take Alex later on tonight. So far, so good with swim. They seem to be doing a really good job of trying to keep the kids socially distanced and separated. The only hassle for us as parents is that practices are cut in short, cut in half. So whereas, last winter they were practicing for 2 hours each a day and parents were allowed to go into the pool room, I could bring Cam, sit there in the bleachers, read my book, make my grocery list, work on a yoga class, do whatever I had to do. Alex would come with me, finish homework, and then when Cam was done, Cam and I would leave and Alex would stay because his practice would start. And now the practices are only an hour each, and there's like 2.5 hours in between the boys' practices. So one of us takes Cam, brings him home, and then the other one goes back with Alex and stays there and then brings him home. So Mike is starting a new job next week, and the schedule should get a little dicey. So I think I will probably be doing nothing but driving back and forth to the pool almost every single night except for the night I get to teach. All right, bring that leg up to center. Take one strap in each hand, pull down. So last time I said you were allowing the femur to slide out and create some space. This time you're pulling it down and anchoring it into the socket, but you're doing it in that newfound room that you've made, and you're doing it in such a way that there's space overload. You're not doing it too tight, you're not doing it too crazy, you're doing it just the perfect amount, and it's going to feel really good. I promise. Take a nice deep full breath in. On the exhale, let your body melt, let your body settle. And then slowly lower your leg all the way to the ground. And take a minute to close your eyes and find your breath and just really enjoy the way that hip feels, because it's golden. That pose is golden. I've known it since the first time I did it with Emma Magenta. She is a fabulous yoga teacher. She owns South Mountain Yoga in South Orange. And I used to take a class with her at night. It might have been Wednesday nights, actually, with my dad. This was before I had Alex. My dad would come and do yoga with me. And he loved Emma because Emma loved The Simpsons, and my dad loved The Simpsons. And I think that was why he went to yoga, because he finally found a teacher that wasn't kooky and weird and hokey. This was before I was teaching. He'd probably think I was a little hokey, but but he loved Emma because he loved that she talked about The Simpsons. So Emma is doing great with her studio. She's thriving. She's got an online group that I'm a part of, a forum where we chat back and forth about different topics that are important to people and just encourage you to really think more and feel more, and it's really good. So if you want a studio in the South Orange area, South Mountain Yoga is one to look for. Okay, now you're going to bring the left leg up and put the strap around the ball of the left foot. Take one strap in each hand and pull down. Pull down. At the same time, press up through the heel, press out through the back of the knee. Do all your little tricks. This is a pose with a lot of little steps that you have to run through in your head. And each little step, you know, I very rarely say that there's a right and a wrong way to do yoga, but I think with this pose, there's a more effective way to practice the pose versus a less effective way. And doing those little things, pressing out through the heel, pulling the toes back, flexing the foot, pressing out through the back of the knee. Those are the little things that are going to make the pose feel better. And that's, you know, that's why you're doing it. You don't want to waste your time. Okay, take both straps into your left hand. Bring your right arm out to your side with the palm up. Anchor that arm. Now this is the side where you have to watch the back of the opposite hip. So you're going to watch the back of your right hip and make sure it doesn't start to roll towards your left. So start to lower the leg out to the left. Perfect. Keep a good grip on that strap. Press out through the back of both knees. Press out through the heel of both feet. Press out through the big toe mounds of both feet. And find your breath. You can see myself swaying. I don't know why exactly I'm doing that, but it feels nice. It feels kind of soothing. Can you believe we have done almost 50 virtual classes together? That's insane to me. That's insane. I don't know what everyone else's thoughts were, but I remember on March 15th, when we knew that all this was happening and we were going into lockdown and kids were home from school, I think we all kind of thought a couple weeks. I know I did. I remember thinking, 2 weeks, and then it'll go into spring break, and they'll have a longer spring break, and then they'll go back to school. And now it is literally a whole other school year, and my kids are doing school from home. But like I said, I think Cam needs to go back. I was hoping he'd be okay, but he's just so distracted by everything. You know, he's got this shield up so he can't see us through the whole day, pretty much. But it's just everything. It's like things on his Chromebook. It's just, he needs a teacher to keep him in line. That's what he needs. Alex seems to be doing fine. He's loving that he can finish school super quick, have 2 of his buddies meet him here and go for a bike ride before swim practice. He's living his best life, I think, but Cam. All right, bring that leg up to center. Take one strap in each hand. Pull down on the straps so that the heel of your foot lifts high. The heel of the left foot lifts high. Press out through the back of the left knee. Pull the left toes down towards you. And then do all the same things on the right leg. So even though the right hip is feeling good, you still want to muscularly engage it. So watch my foot. My left foot is not muscularly engaged. My right foot is muscularly engaged. I'm pulling the toes back and pressing out through the big toe mound and pressing out through the heel. And you can't see it, but I'm pressing my knee down into the ground. All right, take both straps in the right hand. Bring the left arm out, palm up. Roll onto the outside of your right hip. focusing not so much on the back of the hips here, but on the back of the left shoulder. So roll over onto the outside of the right hip. Keep the back of the left arm rooted down into the ground. Nice deep breath in. Exhale the breath. And then on your next inhale, swing that leg up to center. Take one strap in each hand, pull down, anchor the femur into the hip socket. Nice and strongly. And then exhale, release that leg all the way down to the floor in front of you. Drop your strap, close your eyes, bring your arms to your sides with your palms up, and find your breath. And just let your mind wander here. It's one pose, but it's a lot of little poses built into the one pose, and it does require a ton of muscular energy and also some discipline, right? So it's kind of an exhausting pose, but I know I've said this several times just in this time that we've had together today. It's totally worth it. That pose is totally worth it, in my opinion. Allow your breath to deepen a little bit. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes just a little bit, just to kind of wake yourself up in case you got super, super comfy. And when you're ready, make your way over to your right hand side. Come on up to a comfortable seated position. Hands are going to come to your heart in prayer. And we're just going to close with Namaste, which means that which is divine in me honors and bows to that which is divine in you. We're going to take 2 deep breaths first, inhaling and exhaling, and then just gently letting the word breathe itself out of us. Okay? Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Namaste. Thank you. Don't go doing anything that will screw up your hips. You did a lot of work to open them and loosen them and put some space in there, so don't do anything crazy that's going to tighten them up again. I will see you again Wednesday, the middle of next week. And I'm not entirely sure what we're doing yet. I'm kind of thinking of 2 different ideas that I wanted to try out on you, but one of them I'm not so sure about, so we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But have a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you, guys.